Good evening, stargazers. This is Joe Grida from the Astronomical Society of South Australia, and here to present for your enjoyment this month our sky for September 2021. Let's draw the curtains and get some sky up for us. Here we go, September 2021, our all-sky chart. As we always do, let's zoom in on part of the chart so we can see it better and start up in the west because everything sets there. So the sooner we look at it, the better. And you can see that the winter constellations of Scorpius, Ophiuchus, Libra, Sagittarius are all heading towards the western horizon during September. That means that spring is now on our doorstep, and hopefully a few more clearer skies and chance to get out there and do some observing. If you look to the west soon after sunset, you can't help but notice the bright planet Venus, or our evening star. That'll be there until about Christmas for us. Keep us engaged during the spring evenings. Then as we head around towards the southwest, you'll notice that Centaurus and Crux, or the Southern Cross, are now getting quite low in the sky. It's amazing. Just 6 months ago, it was on the other side of the sky and rising, and I was thinking I'd get many nights to have a look around the Milky Way in this area in here with the Southern Cross and Centaurus and into Ara and that. But that time is gone, and I really haven't done much observing at all. The weather has just been absolutely atrocious. But as we look towards the higher up in the south now, we got Pavo, the peacock, and the lovely galaxies that are all visible in this part of the sky in Pavo and in Grus as well. Of course, we've got, we head a little bit further towards the southeast, we've now got the large and small Magellanic Clouds rising. I always say that it doesn't matter what time of the year it is, you've got one of the two best globular clusters in the sky visible to you at any one time. So when Omega Centauri over here is getting a bit too low in the sky, 47 Tuc or NGC 104 is up nice and high. So you've always got one of these two available to you. And of course, if you do want to have a look at some more beautiful globular clusters, well, 6752 in Pavo, or 6397 in Ara, are very nice objects to look at. Eridanus is starting to show itself. Akana, the end of Eridanus, the river, is up nice and high. I always say, if you want a quick way of finding south, just join Alpha Crucius over here to Akana, wherever they happen to be in the sky, and halfway between them is your south celestial pole. So if you get lost in the desert, that's how to find your way south and back home. The spring constellations of Fornax, again with lots of beautiful galaxies in the Fornax cluster, or up in Sculptor here with NGC 253, the Silver Coin galaxy. You got NGC 247, which I'll talk about shortly, and then NGC 55, NGC 300. Look, you can keep yourself busy for absolute hours just looking at galaxies in this area of sky. Aquarius, you've got some beautiful planetary nebulae in there. As we head towards the east, towards the east-northeast, Pisces, the fish over here, there's quite a number of nice galaxies in Pisces as well. And of course, Pegasus, the flying horse, and I'm not sure that you can quite see it yet, but just down below the horizon here is the great Nebula in Andromeda, the great M31 spiral galaxy, which will be more prominent for us in October and November for you to look at. But inside the square of Pegasus, there's lots of nice galaxies to look at as well. And there's M15 over here, another nice globular right at the tip of the nose of Pegasus, the horse here. Altair in Aquila is still shining nice and brightly. And of course, how can you miss Jupiter and Saturn, beautifully placed in the sky for observation most of the night. They're up nice and high early in the evening, so you're looking through the least amount of atmosphere. You get your best scene, and you'll be able to see the best detail possible when they're up nice and high. Low in the northern sky, you've got Cygnus the Swan here with its outspread wings and its long neck, and Alberio here is a gorgeous double star. Not a true double, as one of the writers at Sky and Telescope said, is the two stars are just like lovers passing in the night. You've got a beautiful orange and gold star, two beautiful stars, easily to separate with a small telescope. Vega and Lyra, and of course you've got M57 just in here, the lovely ring nebula that you can see as well. We're starting to lose Hercules over into the northwest. So for you planetary observers, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn, beautifully placed at this time of the year. The center of the Milky Way has just crossed the zenith, so you can start to see it over here, starting to also make its way towards the western horizon. Let's continue. Right, the moon. First half of the month is a dark moon evening. So spend your evenings in the first half of the month looking at faint fuzzies. Try and get out to a dark sky if possible to make the most of it. For the second half of the month, you've got a ever increasing bright moon in the sky, which is going to make it quite difficult for you to see much more than the moon. There's your moon phases, new on the 7th, so right in the middle of the first half of the month. A great chance to get out there and do some viewing. All right, talking about the moon, and if you have to have a look at the moon, what are you going to look at this month? Well, I suggest you wait until just after the middle of the month, when this area of the moon, what they call Sinus Iridum, or the Bay of Rainbows, over here, right up on the northwestern edge of Mare Imbrium. You've got the crater Plato on this side. For me, this is one of the most scenic areas on the moon. As I said, Sinus Iridum is located in the northwest corner of the moon. Best seen on day 9 and 10 after new moon. This month, I'd suggest that you look around the 16th and 17th of September. And I suggest you look on both nights, because the Terminator on one night on the 16th will be sitting just about here, and then on the 17th it'll have come over to here, so you can see the whole bay. I'll talk about that a little bit more in just a second. It's 260 kilometers in diameter from one cape to the other cape, and it's the remains of a large impact crater that was created some 3.2 billion years ago. Later, when Mare Imbrium was inundated with more lava, the southern outlines of the crater were flooded, by the lava and left this beautiful looking bay. It's a fantastic view through the telescope. The two capes are named after some very famous people. The eastern cape is Cape Laplace, named after Pierre-Simon Laplace, who proposed the nebula hypothesis for the formation of the solar system, which we all accept today as the definitive answer to how the solar system formed. And on the other end, we have Cape Heraclides, and he was a Greek who first suggested that the Earth rotates on its axis approximately 360 BC. Other features, we got the Jura Mountains, or Montes Jura here. These are basically the rampart of the crater. And as I said earlier, have a look at it on the 16th and the 17th, because if you look at it on the 16th, this is what it'll look like, where the sunshine is just catching the very tips of the Jura Mountains, and they refer to this as the golden handle. So have a look at it on the 16th, and then have a look at it again on the 17th, when the whole bay is illuminated by the sun. Got another straight range of mountains here, Monte Strecti, or the Straight Mountains. They're 90 kilometres long, so this gives you an idea of the scale here. Plato, the crater over here, is just over 100 kilometres in diameter. And these, amazingly, are up to 800 metres in height. So they're quite high. It'd be quite a spectacular sight, actually, if you were roving around on the moon there. Mentioned the crater Plato, walled plain, around about 101 kilometres in diameter. And again, when the sun is just rising over the entire crater, there's tiny little craterlets that you can see inside the flat plane of the crater, which you can use as a challenge for the quality of the optics on your telescope and the quality of the scene that you've got on the night. And last of all, the Russian Luna 17 spacecraft arrived at the moon in 1970, carried a rover, and they both operated for around about 12 months on the moon. So there you go. Go and have a look at this beautiful scenic part of the moon a little later in September. Right, the planets in the month of September. You can see the Earth here. Mercury and Venus are now in our evening sky. We can see them, and we'll talk about those in just a second. Mars is starting to disappear behind the sun. We won't see it again for a while until it reappears back in the morning sky. With the outer solar system, as I said earlier, Jupiter and Saturn are beautifully placed for evening observation, as are Uranus and Neptune. And I think we might spend some time next month having a go at finding those two planets in our evening sky. I think from memory, Neptune is in Aquarius, and Uranus might be in Pisces. But we'll have a look at that next month when they're a little bit higher up in the sky. Okay, I mentioned Jupiter and Saturn in our evening sky, and this is the view looking east on the 2nd of September, in a couple of days time, where you've got Jupiter and Saturn both sitting within the confines of Capricornus, the constellation, and both of them very easy to view in the eastern sky. Being such big planets, there is so much detail to see, even with a small telescope. You can follow the moons of Jupiter as they across the face of the planet or disappear behind the planet. You can see here one of the moons and its shadow just on there. I think it might have been Europa when I snapped this image out of the Stellarium software program that I use, and similarly for Saturn. There's just so much detail that you can see in the rings, on the cloud belts of Saturn, and of course you can pick up always the moon Titan and many of its other smaller moons like Iapetus and Rhea, Dione, and so on. I don't think I've ever seen Saturn without at least 4 or 5 moons around it at any one time. Of course, if you want to grab a little bit more detail out of both of these planets, add some color filters to the bottom of your eyepiece, and depending on the different filter that you use, you'll be able to tease out a bit more detail. And here's a list of perhaps some of the more useful filters you could use both on Jupiter and Saturn, like an orange or a dark red or a blue, to bring out, say, the red spot or the clouds on Saturn, the bands and poles on Saturn with an orange filter. The orange filter also highlights the red spot on Jupiter so much more. There is a great article on the Agena Astro website on choosing color filters for planetary viewing. This is where I got this information from. I put the URL there for you. I'd recommend that you have a look at that, download it, print it, and keep it in your observing case with your filters. Very, very useful piece of information. Right, as we look to the west on the 9th of September, about an hour after sunset, you'll see the planet Mercury, the moon, the star Speaker in Virgo, and Venus higher up in the sky. They make quite a nice view out to the west. Mercury, not everybody has seen it because it doesn't stray very far from the sun, either in the evening or in the morning sky. So not too many people have seen it, but this is a great opportunity for you on the 9th of September to find the moon and then look to the left and below of it. It's about 4 degrees, and you'll be able to see Mercury there as well. There's a closer look. You can see that the moon is only just a very thin crescent, just a couple of days after new. So you not only will be able to see Mercury, but you'll also be able to see some of the other features on the moon under Earthlight. This will all fit in the field of view of 7 by 50 binoculars without too much difficulty. By the next night, same time, the moon has now moved up to be closer to Venus, and you know that a crescent moon and a brilliant Venus close together are always a absolutely magical sight. So get out there and have a look at that as well on the 10th. The moon has a tiny bit more illumination on it, so the crescent will be much easier to see. And of course, as the illuminated face of the moon gets brighter, so does the Earthlight get dimmer. So have a look at the craters and features on the moon under Earthlight the previous night on the 9th, and then have a look at the moon and Venus. Again, these will fit in the field of view of your binoculars. Again, they're about 4 degrees apart. Right, a double star this month. I thought I'd head far south and have a look at Beta Takani in the constellation of Takani, the toucan, not far from the Small Magellanic Cloud. Beta Takani is quite a absolutely gorgeous. I won't call it a double star because it is actually a multiple star. When you point your telescope at it, you'll notice that there are 3 stars. 2 quite, well, I want to say quite close together. They're still 27 arc seconds apart, so they're easily separated, even at low power in a small telescope, or even with a very steadily held pair of, say, 10 by 50s or 15 by 70 binoculars. They're both, the 2 main stars are both brilliant white stars of almost equal magnitude, 4.4 and 4.5. And then there is a 3rd star, which is a full 9 arc minutes away. So almost a third of a diameter of a full moon. And all of these stars are gravitationally bound. And one of the things that astronomers have found is that each of the stars themselves has a close companion as well. So it's when I say a multiple star for the month, I should have called it a star cluster for the month, because there are 6 stars within that grouping. All stars are fairly young stars, either a spectral classification of A or B, so they're quite young. Very energetic, and that's why they look so bright. All have a proper motion in the sky, which is identical. All are about 140 light years from Earth, so they are all definitely gravitationally bound and move as a group. As I say, they're best viewed at low magnification, around about 70 or 80 times. Should be quite sufficient. And as I say, they're also, binos will also provide a good view. And they're only 8.9 degrees north of 47 Tak. So here's 47 Tak. So just head 8.9 degrees north of 47 Tak and you'll come straight to Beta Takani. So whilst you're looking at Beta, obviously have a look at 47 Tak and the other neglected globular near the Small Magellanic Cloud, which is NGC 362. And where are they in the sky? Oh, here we go. There's a drawing made by, who did this? I forget now. I thought his name was on there. No, but you can see what a telescopic view would look like. There's a Beta 1 and Beta 2, and then Beta 3, 9 minutes away over here. All white stars, quite spectacular in the eyepiece. So where are they in the sky? As you're looking southeast, you'll be able to see, if you're in a dark sky, you'll be able to see the Small Magellanic Cloud over here. Here are the 2 globulars, 47 Tak and NGC 362, which is not labelled, just there. And as you move over 9 degrees this way, there's Beta Tak just there. Well, let's just zoom in on that. There you go. 362 is now labelled, and head straight out from 47 Tak, and you'll come to Beta Takani over here. Really well worth spending time to have a look at that, and of course then come over here and have a look at the nice fuzzies within the Small Magellanic Cloud and those two globulars. We head back from the south, back towards the north now, in Cetus the whale, and we'll have a look at NGC 247, a spiral galaxy, and as I say there, and some friends in the title, and I'll show you who or what those friends are in just a second. It's quite a large galaxy. It spans 21 arc minutes by 7. So 21 arc minutes from here to there. That's 2/3 of a full moon. So you can see how big the galaxy is. It shows as magnitude 9.9, but because it is so large and that light is spread over such a large area, it is relatively faint. It's not something that I would be looking at during a moonlit evening. You're even going to have a bit of trouble on a dark moon night from the suburbs. Certainly an object to have a look at from a dark sky site, like Stockport or Tuparang or Melbanda. Any of our dark sky sites would show you that. So very, very nice. It's only 11 million light years away, so it's one of the nearer of the spiral galaxies. And you can see that it's slightly tilted, so it's almost edge on to us, but not quite. It's not the flat galaxies that I like to sometimes look at. And there's a string of 4 little galaxies. These are its friends over here. These guys here. These are known as Burbage's chain. These galaxies are all 14th or 15th magnitude, and they're 300 million light years away. So much further than NGC 247. So just imagine the depth of field you've got when you've got all of these in the field of view of your telescope. I have seen these through my 16-inch from a dark sky, but it really has to be a dark sky, and the galaxy needs to be nice and high up in the sky. The NGC 247 on its own, without its little friends over here, you should be able to pick that up in a 10-inch telescope from a dark sky with no problems at all. So where is it in the sky? This is the tail of Cetus the whale just here, this difter, and it's just in this area here that you can find NGC 247. As we close in on it, difter's over here, Alpha Sculptor is over here, and there's 247, and of course, when you've had a look at that, go and have a look, feast your eyes on NGC 253 and the globular NGC 288, also very close. They're all part of the same sculptor group of galaxies. Of course, not NGC 288, which is a globular cluster in a halo around our own galaxy. As I mentioned earlier, I create all of my sky diagrams using Stellarium software. Highly recommend that you download it. It's all free, and you can then do the same. And just a reminder that if you have any questions about anything that we've covered tonight, don't hesitate to email me at technical@asa.org.au, and also get your latest information about ASA activities off of our website, or subscribe to the YouTube channel where you can watch this program again and many of the other excellent talks that we have recorded for you. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter as well. So with spring coming and hopefully clearer skies, get out there and do some observing, stargazers, and I'll catch you again next month.